Hello everyone, on today's episode we're going to talk about the ego trap, 6 of them in particular. Stop getting trapped by the ego and become the best version of you. I've got a big ego. Boo, boo, boo. There's a Kanye West song that I heard and it's like, I've got a big ego, but he wasn't talking about the ego. But today we're talking about the ego and something that really gets in the stumbling blocks of development, enlightenment, and becoming the best version of you is that ego. We hold on to it so tight, we think it serves us, but it's the devil on our shoulder. And as always, I'm going to begin with a quote on the subject, and that quote is, "The ego constantly competes with the spirit for control over the inner voice." In Western culture, we call it the devil on your shoulder and the angel on your shoulder. In Navajo, American Indian culture, they call it the white wolf and the black wolf. And it's true, that voice in your head that tells you you're no good. Who's telling you you're no good? How can you tell you you're no good? It's like a knife cutting itself or a flame burning itself. It can't happen. So what is it? Well, it's the ego, and it's no good. Quite often as men we're told, you've got to have ego. I don't see a lot of happy people with ego. I see a lot of rich people with coronary heart disease with ego, but I don't know if that's what we all want to be. So for me, the ego was about keeping up appearances. I always wanted to project how I wanted to be, and it wasn't how I wanted to be because I just wanted to be happy. But I was projecting success through material things. I'd wear the coolest clothes, drive the fanciest cars, live in the best houses. Because the ego was telling me, you've got to do that, man. Everyone's got to see you the way I see you, and you've got to be good, and you've got to be great, and you've got to be successful, you've got to show these people. And geez, it created a lot of unnecessary stress. I don't know if these people were impressed. I think I probably pissed off more people than I impressed because, I was probably stepping on their throats trying to increase this ego acknowledgement. So I think it was terribly, incredibly insidious in my life, but pathway it carved through the universe is what I learned from, and the resistance from that has made me a better person. So I'm still not, the ego creates that resistance and that challenge for us to break through. We shouldn't be upset at it. We shouldn't give it power. It's like a dumbbell at a gym. You don't get angry at the dumbbell because it's providing resistance. We shouldn't get angry at the ego. We should simply notice what it's doing and understand how to beat it. So what are the ego traps? Well, the first trap is the future self. If I could just, then I would just. So whenever you hear yourself go, as soon as I pay off this house, I'll feel so much better. The ego is taking you out of the moment and it's giving you future stories you can believe and live into. And sometimes they get you. The crazy thing about the ego is that it's looking to get you, and I'll explain how. If it says to you, one day when you get chicken pox, you'll be happy, you'll go, what the hell was that for? That's a bit retarded. And then he goes, didn't get that one right. Okay, let me try another one. When you meet the perfect girl, you'll be happy. And you go, yeah, I reckon I would. And he goes, got ya. Okay, almost now, and there's more and more and more, and and that's why it's so good at what it does, is it's trial and error. And it backwards rationalizes. It goes, I told you so. Remember how I told you when you got the house, you got it all because of me, because I told you, because you stuck to your goals? No, you got the house because of a lot of reasons. The law of 10,000 things. Number 2, the identification trap. The ego is always looking to identify with a thought concept. So for example, I'm an Australian who likes this footy team, who likes this political party, whose name is, whose net worth is, and you identify with all those things, and pain is created trying to keep up with that identification. You leave the present moment, you start listening to who you're like. Well, my football team says that apartheid was a good idea, so maybe it is. You start leaving yourself and giving your ideas up to others. Number 3, the permanency trap. This one's good. If I just get her out on a date, then we can get married and be happy forever. If I could just have enough money, if I could just have 100K, that'd be enough money to keep me going for a long time. There's no permanency. The ego's always trying to grasp, and it drowns you. Like Alan Watts used to say, if you're swimming and you grasp at the water, you drown. But if you float, you live. And that's what the ego does, as you're grasping and drowning in the concept that things are going to be here forever. Guess what? They're not. The universe won't be here forever. Cyclical recycling in nature. I love summer, but I couldn't handle summer for 12 months. I would miss the rain. I would miss wearing, coats and stuff like that. Nothing lasts forever except the ego, which is constantly getting upset and disappointed when things fall apart, although they're designed to. 4, the isolation trap. The ego quite often is telling you it's you against the world, it's me against the world. You know that, the world is mine, the old Scarface motto, and it didn't work out too well for him. You are not isolated, you are more connected than you could ever know. If you understood and appreciated the beauty of you, if you could read, Richard Feynman's or Niels Bohr's take on quantum mechanics, Einstein's spooky action and movement, where we are intertwined with like every atom in the universe, and what we observe and do to those atoms has effects on them faster than the speed of light, like non-local. It's crazy, and we're not isolated, and I know that for sure. I was born knowing that we're not isolated, and I can tell you that the ego is never going to trick me out of that. Number 5, the accumulation trap. If I can have enough of this, then I'll be happy. How's that working out for Rupert Murdoch and those blokes? That 1%, that 85 people who control 90% of the world's wealth, they're not happy people. Like, I see them, I see them on TV, I see the way they act. I know they're not happy. Because happy people don't hoard money and, need the most fanciest things. The happiest people don't need these things. Mother Teresa was given first-class tickets around the world her entire life by an airline company. She just never took them. She always sat in coach because she didn't need it. I'm not saying reject things, but understand that you cannot accumulate enough things to be happy. You can only be happy now and then accumulate things. But the ego gets it in reverse order. It goes, keep accumulating and you'll be fine. And finally, number 6, the happiness trap. The ego knows you want to be happy. It knows, and it uses it against you. It says, if you could get this girl, you'll be happy. If you can get this car, you'll be happy. If this guy takes you on a date, you'll be happy. Now, that is just insidious, because we all want to be happy, but you're going to be happy right now. You cannot be happy when things happen. They're just thoughts, and the ego plays on this so hard. So whenever you hear the ego saying, this will make you happy, you need to know that no, you will make you happy in the moment when you let go. Our default state is happiness. The thoughts and the worries the ego creates, the problems it creates, you haven't got enough of, you need more, is what takes away us out of our happiness. Let's beat the ego. We don't need egos. When someone says, I've got a big ego, that's a negative thing. Like, ultimately, busting through this ego makes us who we are. It's like the cocoon the caterpillars wear. To be a butterfly, you've got to break out of the ego and become your enlightened self. I'm still working on it. I'm not perfect, but every day the ego becomes less, the happier I become. It's definitely something to think about, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Until then, goodbye.